Good morning. How are you guys doing today? Welcome back to my channel. I am Shayna the Soul Traveler. All right, guys, today I'm going to share a journal entry with you that I made last night. And the reason why is because a lot of people are always talking about shadow work, shadow work, shadow work, and it seems to elude people on how to do it. I'm going to share this journal entry with you because it is a real life, real time example of my own shadow work. Now, I'm being very vulnerable, very raw, very open with y'all because I want you to see this so you can kind of maybe understand a little bit more on how to do your own shadow work. So before I share it with you, I'm going to give you a little bit of backstory so that you're just like not completely lost in what's going on here. So about a month ago, I had decided that I was going to separate from my husband. We had gone through, a lot of stuff. We hurt each other in a lot of ways, and I was just tired of, the cycle. And we stayed separated maybe for like almost a month, and then recently, on the last few days, we decided to reconcile, and we're just gonna, see how that goes. But I'm gonna share this with you. Um, and if anything comes up in their journal entry that I feel needs explaining so that you're not lost, I'll do that. So hopefully you'll stay with me through the whole thing so that you can understand shadow work a little bit better. And just let you know, I am a shadow work coach. And my link, as always, is going to be below on my website. You can book readings there. You can join my healing program, amongst other things. But let's get into it, okay? So, dear God, this is how I start off my journal entries. I talk to God, okay? I listened to a man named Michael Murdad on YouTube. He said in a video about soul contracts, quote unquote, if you're still angry, you're not done. And I would recommend you guys listen to Michael Murdad, okay? I'll leave his link below too for his channel. He said, if you're still angry, you're not done when it comes to soul contracts. So when it came to moving on from Daniel, that's my husband, I was still bothered by him going out and things like that because we still been living in the same house through this whole time. And I lost my mind when he told me he had met someone. He told me he had met someone, that they hadn't gone on a date or anything. They were, talking on the phone. So I then talked my way back into a relationship because of it. I was already missing him, of course, but that sent me when I found out about that he was talking to someone. I realized that this was a reaction of fear, of insecurity, and jealousy. This brings me to the fact that I have not yet learned my own self-worth or healed my self-loathing. And I'm going to stop here for a second, guys, because I have a long time had a very big comparison issue. Okay, just to give you shed a little bit more light on that, the girl that he was talking to, he told me she was half Japanese, half Puerto Rican. Now, that probably comes together very beautiful. I still don't know what she looks like. Don't want to see. But, all right. So I digress. I think y'all kind of get it, all right? It's my belief, that Daniel intentionally pressed this button. However, it would be impossible to press the button if I had overcome this part of myself. Although I subconsciously seek validation and attachment due to abandonment issues, as soon as I receive it, I get anxious and afraid. I am a number 2, the number of duality, the number of partnership, as well as having my Venus in its own house of 7. Venus it lives at home in the 7th house, which is the house of love. Venus is the planet of love, for those of you who don't know. Okay, but this tells me I am naturally a person who likes to have my other half. I came to the conclusion that I have actually rejected this part of myself, and so it has become my shadow. Yes, your shadow is the parts of yourself that you've rejected. This is why I subconsciously push away or I go into flight mode, depending on whether I'm being loved or being abandoned. So in other words, when someone's trying to love me, I shut down or go into flight mode. And when I feel abandoned, when I feel they're moving away from me or distancing themselves, I cling. Okay? So I even get angry at myself for needing someone. And then I shut down and try to detach in an attempt to fix this. Okay? So you see, I have rejected the part of me that wants a partner. Okay? And it comes out all toxic. Ever since we agreed to work things out, I keep looking for something to be wrong. Today I realize it's me who wants to run. Regardless of my relationship with Daniel, I came to realize I don't act in self love. And so I then become resentful and turn it outwards. Sometimes I beat myself up instead. An example is tonight when I really didn't feel like helping Daniel with an audition, I did it anyway. My husband's an actor, and for a long while I helped him with auditions, and sometimes it stresses me out. Okay, so also I decided and realized I've been going to bed early with him because he has to work early in the mornings with his cousin. Nothing wrong with this, but tonight in particular, I need time for myself to do some things. He isn't making me go to bed with him. It's me requiring myself to make sure that I keep him happy. I even notice when I'm irritable, I try to make up to him subconsciously, like with, a hug or something. The challenge here for me is knowing the difference and the line between revenge self love and genuine self love. So I'm going to explain that real quick before I keep going. So sometimes we get mad, we get resentful at other people because it's like, oh, I never have time for myself, oh, it's all about you or whatever. But you have to stop and look, are they making you, or are you pressuring and guilting yourself into making it all about them? Okay, and then turn around and do things in revenge, like, oh, well, it's been all about you, I'm going to go out with my girls, it's been all about you, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that for me. Okay, there's a difference in revenge self-love and genuine self-love. All right, I'll continue. I must give myself care out of love for myself rather than revenge and resentment against others. Nobody can take what you do not give. I also realize I'm angry at myself for reacting in insecurity and jealousy to the idea of him moving on. So I'm actually, mad that I decided to cling back on at the idea of him moving on with someone else. I'm not saying that's the only reason, because I do love him, but I was angry at myself for reacting that way because that means I haven't grown there. It made me feel weak. I tend to view this dynamic as a power exchange, as in he took the power back. I view it as a win-lose situation, like, oh, I was okay, and then he told me this, and now he has the power back because now I'm the one feeling insecure and longing for him. I feel he also views these interactions and relationships in this win or lose dynamic. Before, when I was leaving, I was only able to do so comfortably because I felt in power. While he was moping and longing for me, I was okay. We're moving on, right? So perhaps this is also the subconscious reason I was distant before in our relationship, because I had become distant at some point. As I explained earlier, I become distant when someone's trying to love me. On top of the intimacy issue, I now understand that loving yourself has nothing to do with resenting somebody else. Okay, so we don't want to be all in that, okay, I'm going to do me. Not that. That's not true self-love. I also realize that love is not control. Love is vulnerable with self and with others. Self-love isn't just affirmations. Affirmations are great, but it's also acts of self-love. It's also not feeling like you won and you're the good guy while the other person is the bad guy. Today, I saw a guy at the gym and he was attractive. I didn't say anything, but I did notice that my what I call BPD brain turned on. So if those of you don't know what borderline personality is, it's someone who struggles with a deep fear of abandonment amongst a whole other list of symptoms criteria you have to meet. I'm not going to go into that. But anyway, basically what happens is that I start, putting off this energy of, wanting to attract someone to me for validation or getting them to notice me. Okay? But I caught myself and I got angry with myself. And I was thinking that this must be a result of me restarting my relationship with my husband, and it was making me feel trapped. But when in reality, it's my shadow. It was my shadow self seeking that validation again and running again and seeking that fulfillment from something that is not based in true intimacy, okay, or genuine love. So I do have a lot of work to do, but I now understand what Michael said in that video about not being done. If you're still angry, you're not done. So when I got angry about my husband, moving on or, talking to somebody else, that meant I wasn't done. Not necessarily not done with him. I wasn't done learning my lessons. I wasn't done with our soul contract, because we are married to each other, and your relationships are the best way to see yourself, okay? I don't know if Daniel is my twin or my karmic partner or whatever those labels are, but I do know that we're contracted as mirrors to each other. If I had not turned back, then I would have went back into the world still angry, still insecure, and still fighting the very demons that I thought I was outrunning. Now, that's not to say that the healing would not have still taken place at its own time. But here I was, moving on, going to nightclubs, drinking alcohol, being with my friends, trying to be free, believing that if I just got to my new home, if I was just able to move out, I'd be golden, right? Yes, breakups hurt regardless, but I can see myself and more of what needs to be healed by re-entering into this relationship. This is not about Daniel, my husband. This is about me. I am and I will continue healing. I will master myself if it's the last thing that I do. I also realized I was playing those money-making games obsessively. So there's these games all over, the internet, where they say, play, and all you have to do is play the game, you earn the money, right? But basically, they make you just chase the ever-elusive rabbit, okay? And this points out my need for instant gratification and wasting endless time chasing the pot at the end of the rainbow. And so applies with money. We all kind of do this with money, but this also applies to validation and, love relationships and everything like that. But I am ready to do this work. And ever since I told my stepmom about the reconciliation, she hasn't responded. Now, those of you who don't know, me and my stepmom are very close. We also have like a soul contract. I believe she's like a soulmate or something or another. I won't go too much into that. But anyway, this is challenging because, of course, I want to have her approval and acceptance. I always want to have her approval and acceptance. I didn't tell her that we were reconciling. She saw it on Facebook. That wasn't an accident. Of course I didn't tell her out of shame. And now I have to make a vow of myself to speak the truth with her for all its complicated sides, rather than speak against Daniel to please her. Because in the past, I would, make him the bad guy in order to please her. And I would do this on a subconscious level. But I also don't want to go to her and justify anything. Of like, oh, well, we're together because this and that. To tell her the same truth that I'm telling you guys in this journal entry. So it's so much to untangle, but I am determined not to go back into my old ways. I've been pushing at Daniel to keep us living together instead of him moving away to Georgia. So during the separation, he made plans with one of his, managers, a guy that's going to like basically sponsor him to move to Georgia to up his acting career. And now there's, I was going to move out, and now, I'm kind of like, well, I want us to live together. And he's like, I'm not going to, hold myself back for my career, for us to live together. If we can work it out, we will, to live together. And once I, get everything off the ground, then we'll have a house together. So just to explain that. And I realized that I'm pushing at him for us to live together instead of him going to Georgia, because I want him to prove to me that he loves me, and subconsciously seeking a reason to be done if he doesn't, to say, oh, that's a deal breaker, right? In reality, I think I need to live alone, even if we do plan to live together again. Hopefully, he doesn't make himself small with his plans for my benefit. I hope that I haven't gotten to him, and he does that, because that's just repeating the same cycles of both of us, bending over and not being our authentic selves in order to please the other one, keep the other one around. These are lessons we both need. I cannot control his journey, but I can control my own. And then I just kind of go into my gratitude list, with spirit and all of that. But I really hope that gave y'all some insight. I hope it wasn't too confusing. I hope you were able to follow me. Please leave questions, comments, or anything, in the comments, and share your own experiences about, things that you see about yourself. And if you like this video and you would like to hear more things like this, about self-reflection, self-awareness, then please let me know in the comments. All right, guys, bye.